Every day, we wake up, go through routines, and chase dreams. But how often do we stop to question the thoughts that guide us, the fears that hold us back, the doubts that whisper, "You're not enough"? The truth is, the most dangerous prison isn't built of steel bars. It's built within our own minds. A prison of limiting beliefs, past mistakes, and unspoken insecurities. Today, I want to help you find the key, because once you realize you're locked in, you also realize you have the power to break free. We often live our lives on autopilot, moving from one task to another, one day to the next, without ever pausing to ask ourselves why we do what we do. Why do we think the way we think? Why do certain fears control our choices? Why do we react so strongly to certain situations? Most of the time, we are unaware of the deeply rooted beliefs, emotions, and past experiences that shape our responses. This is where awareness becomes the most important step toward any kind of real transformation. Until we become aware, we remain trapped in patterns that we didn't consciously choose, living a life designed by fear, not freedom. Awareness is about paying attention. It's about becoming a witness to your own inner world. It's not just about knowing what you're doing. It's about knowing why you're doing it. When you begin to observe your thoughts without judgment, you start to see how many of them are not even yours. They were planted in your mind by others, by your upbringing, by society, by experiences that left an emotional mark. You begin to notice that the voice in your head telling you you're not good enough might actually be the echo of someone else's words, long forgotten consciously, but deeply embedded subconsciously. This realization is powerful, because once you can see the cage, you can start looking for the key. Imagine walking through your life thinking you're free, when in reality invisible chains are holding you back from your highest potential. That's what happens when we live without awareness. We operate from fear without recognizing it. We let our insecurities drive our decisions. We sabotage opportunities because deep down, we don't believe we deserve them. And the worst part is, we don't even know we're doing it. Awareness doesn't come from running faster or doing more. It comes from slowing down. It comes in silence, in stillness, in reflection. Sometimes it comes from a deep conversation, sometimes from heartbreak, sometimes from failure. These moments open a crack in the wall, a small window into the deeper truth we've been avoiding. And in that moment, if we are willing to be honest with ourselves, we see the pattern. We see the fear that's been driving us, the pain that we've been hiding, the story we've been telling ourselves. That's when change becomes possible. Not because someone told us to change, not because we read a quote online, but because we finally, you cannot heal what you're not willing to face. You cannot break patterns you're not willing to admit exist. That's why awareness is not just a step, it's the first step. It's the moment the light switches on in a dark room. The room was always there, you just couldn't see what was inside. And when the light comes on, you may not like everything you find. You might see your anger, your jealousy, your fear, but you'll also see your strength, your resilience, your ability to rise above it all. And that's where true power begins. Most people run from this moment because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to stay busy, distracted, entertained, but discomfort is the door to growth. The more you allow yourself to observe without escaping, the more clarity you gain. You start to see how your childhood experiences still influence your relationships. You realize that the reason you feel stuck isn't because life is unfair, but because your own thinking has created a loop you've been unconsciously living inside. The awareness itself doesn't remove the pain, but it does remove the mystery. And when something is no longer a mystery, you can begin to do something about it. You can choose a new thought. You can create a new belief. You can write a new story, not overnight, but with each moment of conscious awareness, the prison begins to weaken. Every thought we think plants a seed in the soil of our mind. Over time, those seeds take root, grow, and become the lens through which we experience the world. If we plant seeds of fear, doubt, and negativity, we will harvest a reality that feels heavy, limited, and hopeless. If we plant seeds of belief, courage, and hope, we begin to see life through a different frame. The world hasn't changed, we have. And that inner shift changes everything outside of us. Your reality is not just shaped by what happens to you, but by how you interpret what happens to you. Two people can go through the exact same experience, but walk away with completely different realities, simply because their thoughts about the experience are different. Our thoughts are not passive. Every emotion you feel begins with a thought. Every decision you make is influenced by a thought. Every reaction, every goal, every regret, it all starts in the mind. If you constantly think, I'm not good enough, that thought eventually becomes a belief, and beliefs have consequences. You'll hesitate to take action, you'll shrink yourself around others, and you'll avoid risks that could lead to growth. Not because you can't do it, but because you've convinced yourself you. In the same way, if you begin to think, I'm capable of learning, your energy shifts. You become more open, you try, you experiment, you grow. That one thought begins to reshape your actions and your future. The mind looks for evidence of what it already believes. If you wake up thinking the day is going to be terrible, your brain will find reasons to confirm that story. A small inconvenience will feel like a disaster. A missed text will feel like rejection. But if you wake up and choose to think, today I'm going to find peace in small moments, you start looking for calm instead of chaos. Your thoughts act like magnets, pulling in evidence to prove themselves true. That's why we can't afford to let our minds run on autopilot. If we don't guide our thoughts, they'll be guided by fear, by conditioning, by the voices of others that we've never questioned. It's not about forcing yourself to be positive all the time. That's not realistic, and it's not honest. It's about being conscious of the stories you're telling yourself. When you catch a thought like, I'll never be happy, instead of accepting it as truth, you pause and ask, where did this thought come from? Is it based on fact or fear? Is there another way to see this? That small moment of awareness can shift the entire trajectory of your mood, your day, even your life. Because your brain is listening. Every thought creates a ripple effect. It triggers emotions. Emotions drive behaviors. Behaviors shape results. So the results you're seeing in your life right now, the quality of your relationships, your confidence, your peace of mind, are all reflections of past thought patterns. People often think that reality is something fixed, something outside of them. But so much of our reality is internal. It's the meaning we attach to things. It's the story we tell ourselves about who we are and what's possible. That's why two people can go through a breakup and one spirals while the other grows stronger. It's not just the breakup, it's the interpretation. One person thinks, this proves I'm unlovable. The other thinks this is a chance to heal and find someone aligned with me. Same event, different thoughts, entirely different realities. We train our minds constantly, whether we realize it or not. Every repeated thought strengthens a neural pathway. That's why some people are naturally hopeful, while others are habitually discouraged. It's not luck, it's repetition. The good news is, any thought can be retrained. You can start today. You can challenge the story. You can question the assumptions. You can replace the automatic reaction with a conscious response. And over time, those new thoughts become your default, not because life suddenly got easier, but because your mind got stronger. The voice inside your head is the most constant companion you will ever have. From the moment you wake up until you fall asleep, it narrates your experience, comments on your actions, and often judges your worth. But have you ever stopped to question where this voice comes from? Is it really yours? Or is it the echo of someone else's opinions, fears, or expectations that you have absorbed over time without realizing? Most people accept this internal chatter as truth. But it's important to understand that not every thought you hear is accurate, helpful, or even kind. Learning to question this voice is essential to breaking free from self-imposed limitations. This voice can be gentle and encouraging, or harsh and critical. Sometimes it urges you forward, other times it convinces you to hold back. It's shaped by your past experiences, your upbringing, the culture around you, and even the media you consume. When you start questioning this voice, you begin to see that it's not a single unified truth, but a collection of many influences, some supportive, some harmful. For example, that inner critic might tell you that you're not smart enough to pursue a dream, but that thought could simply be an old fear disguised as a warning. Recognizing this gives you the power to decide which voices deserve your attention and which ones should be challenged or silenced. Questioning your inner voice doesn't mean rejecting all your thoughts or pretending everything is fine. It means becoming curious and discerning. When a negative thought arises, instead of immediately accepting it as fact, you pause and ask yourself, is this thought true? What evidence do I have for it? Am I letting fear or past pain cloud my judgment? This simple act of inquiry creates distance between you and the thought, turning the voice from a dictator into a messenger. It's no longer a command, but an invitation to explore. This space between stimulus and response is where freedom lives. When you take the time to question, you reclaim control over your mind. Often, this voice repeats patterns from childhood or past failures. It's a survival mechanism that tried to protect you by warning of potential risks or pointing out your mistakes. But what worked to keep you safe then may no longer serve you today. The more you question these automatic thoughts, the more you realize that many of them are outdated stories you've been carrying without choice. Maybe you believed you were not lovable because of something someone said long ago. Maybe you convinced yourself you would never succeed because of a single setback. But these are stories, not facts. Questioning the voice means questioning these stories and giving yourself permission to rewrite them. As you grow more skilled at questioning your inner voice, you'll start to notice a shift in your emotions and actions. Negative self-talk loses its grip. Fear loses some of its power. You become more compassionate toward yourself, recognizing that your mind sometimes tries to protect you in the wrong way. You also become more mindful of when the voice is helpful, like when it encourages preparation, caution, or reflection, and when it is harmful, like when it breeds doubt, shame, or procrastination. This awareness creates a healthier relationship with your thoughts, one that supports growth rather than hinders it. Questioning the voice is not a one-time event. It's a practice. It requires patience and persistence because that voice is deeply ingrained. Sometimes it will be loud, relentless, and convincing. Other times it will be quiet and sneaky. But each time you catch it and ask, is this really true? you weaken its power and strengthen your ability to choose your own path. You become the author of your own story instead of a character trapped by old scripts. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, creating new pathways for more empowering and supportive thoughts to take root. The past is a powerful force that shapes who we are, but it can also become a heavy burden we carry without even realizing it. Many people live their lives anchored to memories, regrets, and hurts that no longer serve them. Yet they hold on tightly, as if letting go means losing a part of themselves. But holding on to the past often means holding on to pain, resentment, and fear, which keeps us trapped in cycles that prevent growth and happiness. To truly move forward, we must learn to let go, not to forget or dismiss our experiences, but to release the grip they have on our present and future. Letting go of the past begins with acceptance. It means acknowledging what happened without resistance, without trying to rewrite or deny it. When we resist the past, we create tension and suffering. We relive the pain over and over, turning wounds into wounds that never heal. But when we accept the past as it is, we stop fighting a battle that cannot be changed and start making space for healing. Acceptance doesn't mean approval or condoning what happened. It means understanding that the past is unchangeable and our energy is better spent on how we respond to it now. Many people confuse letting go with forgetting or pretending the past didn't happen, but that's not true freedom. True freedom comes from making peace with our history, recognizing how it shaped us, and choosing to no longer let it define us. The memories, good or bad, are part of our story, but they are not the whole story. You are not your past mistakes, failures, or losses. You are the person who is here now with the power to choose a different path. Letting go means releasing the emotional charge attached to past events so that they no longer control your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Holding on to resentment, anger, or guilt is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. It weighs you down, drains your energy, and limits your ability to move forward. Forgiveness, whether toward others or yourself, is one of the most powerful tools in letting go. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harmful behavior or forgetting injustice. It means freeing yourself from the prison of bitterness and pain. It means deciding not to let past wounds dictate your present peace. When you forgive, you reclaim your power and open the door to healing and growth. Letting go also requires patience and compassion toward yourself. Sometimes the past feels so intertwined with your identity that releasing it feels like losing a part of who you are. That's natural. Change takes time, and healing is a process, not an event. You may find yourself revisiting old feelings or memories, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing to gently release your grip again and again. Every time you do, you weaken the hold the past has on you and strengthen your ability to live fully in the present. It's important to remember that the past influences our beliefs and behaviors, often without our awareness. Old fears and limiting beliefs born from past experiences can silently steer our decisions and relationships. Letting go means shining a light on these hidden patterns and choosing to create new ones. It means deciding that your future will not be dictated by the stories of pain or failure you once believed. Instead, you rewrite your narrative with hope, resilience, and possibility. Letting go is not about erasing memories or pretending everything is perfect. It's about releasing the emotional baggage that weighs you down and choosing freedom instead. It's about recognizing that your worth, your happiness, and your peace do not depend on the past, but on how you show up for yourself today. Each moment you let go, You make space for new experiences, new joys, and new growth to enter your life. You move from being a prisoner of your history to becoming the architect of your future. The truth is, no one else holds the key to your happiness, your freedom, or your growth. It might be easy to look outside yourself, to others, to circumstances, to luck, and believe that change depends on external forces. But the most profound transformation always begins from within. You hold the key to unlock the doors that keep you confined, to break down the walls that limit your potential, and to open windows that let in new possibilities. It's your thoughts, your choices, and your willingness to step into discomfort that determine the direction of your life. Often, we wait for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, or the approval of others before we take action. We hand over our power by believing that someone else's validation or permission is necessary for us to move forward. But that only keeps us stuck. Realizing that the key is in your own hands means taking full responsibility for your life. It means acknowledging that while you cannot control every event, you can control how you respond. This shift from victimhood to ownership is the foundation for true freedom. Holding the key also means trusting yourself. Trust that you are capable of facing challenges, making mistakes, and learning from them. Trust that even when you don't have all the answers, you have the strength to find your way. So many people underestimate their own resilience because they haven't yet faced their fears head on. But every small step you take, every time you choose courage over comfort, you exercise the key and unlock a new part of your potential. Your inner strength is waiting for you to believe in it. It's natural to feel uncertain or scared when you hold the key, because unlocking the door often means stepping into the unknown. But growth rarely happens inside comfort zones. When you recognize that the key is yours, you also accept the responsibility of using it, even when it's uncomfortable. That responsibility is not a burden, it's a gift. It's the freedom to decide who you want to be, what kind of life you want to build, and how you want to show up in the world. No one else can do that for you, and no one else can take it away. Sometimes, holding the key means making difficult choices. It means saying no to people, habits, or situations that no longer serve you. It means breaking cycles, setting boundaries, and prioritizing your well-being. These decisions can feel lonely or challenging, but they are necessary steps toward unlocking your full potential. The more you practice using your key, making conscious, courageous choices, the more confident you become in your ability to shape your reality. Remember, the key doesn't unlock just one door, it opens many doors. Each decision you make, each belief you shift creates access to new opportunities, perspectives, and experiences. The more you embrace your power, the more doors you'll find waiting to be opened. This is the essence of empowerment, knowing that you are not helpless, that you are the architect of your own life, and that your destiny is not a mystery, but a path you carve with intention. And holding the key also means embracing your imperfections. You don't have to be perfect to unlock your potential. In fact, perfectionism often keeps people locked in place, afraid to make mistakes or fail. But failure is part of the process. It's a signal that you are trying, growing, and learning. When you hold the key, you give yourself permission to be human, to stumble, to fall, and to get back up again. That resilience is the true power behind the key. Ultimately, knowing that you hold the key invites you to live with greater freedom, authenticity, and purpose. It encourages you to stop waiting for permission and start acting on your own behalf. It reminds you that your life is your responsibility, your canvas, and your greatest opportunity for growth. And every time you choose to use your key to unlock a fear, to open a new door, to step into your courage, you move closer to the life you were meant to live. Freedom is not a one-time achievement or a destination you arrive at and then forget about. It is a daily practice, a commitment to choosing how you respond to life's challenges, fears, and limitations every single day. Many people imagine freedom as something external, a situation, a relationship, or a circumstance that, once changed, will make them feel free. But true freedom is an internal state cultivated through awareness, intention, and consistent effort. It is about showing up for yourself each day and deciding not to be held captive by old habits, negative thoughts, or external pressures. Every morning presents a new opportunity to practice freedom. It may come in small moments, choosing patience when irritation rises, choosing self-compassion instead of harsh judgment, choosing courage instead of comfort. These small decisions might seem insignificant, but over time they build a foundation for lasting change. Freedom grows stronger each time you resist the urge to react impulsively, each time you pause to question limiting beliefs, each time you prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Like any skill, freedom requires practice and dedication. Freedom also means embracing discomfort, because growth rarely happens without it. It means making choices that align with your true self, even when they are difficult or unpopular. It means saying no to things that drain your energy and yes to things that nourish your soul. This requires mindfulness, the ability to be present with your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When you practice mindfulness daily, you develop the space to choose your responses rather than being controlled by automatic reactions. In that space, freedom is born. One of the biggest obstacles to daily freedom is the tendency to fall back into old patterns. The mind craves familiarity, even if it means staying stuck in negative cycles. That's why freedom is a practice of patience and persistence. Some days will be easier than others. You might find yourself slipping into self-doubt or anxiety, but that doesn't mean you have failed. It means you are human. What matters is your willingness to keep trying, to get back on the path each time you stray. This consistency is what transforms freedom from a concept into a lived experience. Another key aspect of freedom as a daily practice is self-awareness. Freedom cannot flourish in ignorance. The more you understand your triggers, your fears, and your automatic responses, the more power you have to choose differently. Journaling, meditation, or simply pausing throughout the day to check in with yourself can deepen this awareness. It's not about eliminating negative thoughts or emotions. That's impossible. But about observing them without letting them control you. Each moment you do this, you strengthen your inner freedom. Practicing freedom daily also involves setting boundaries. Saying no to demands, people, or situations that compromise your peace is an act of reclaiming your time and energy. It's a way of honoring your needs and values, which reinforces your sense of autonomy. Boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first because they challenge old patterns of people-pleasing or avoidance, but with practice, they become a source of empowerment and self-respect. Ultimately, freedom as a daily practice is about living intentionally. It's about recognizing that you have a choice in every moment. The choice to let go of what no longer serves you and to embrace what supports your growth and joy. It's about showing up fully for yourself, even when it's hard, and trusting that each small step forward adds up to a life lived on your terms. Freedom is not something you find outside. It is something you create inside, again and again, every single day. In embracing awareness, questioning the voice within, letting go of the past, recognizing that you hold the key, and committing to freedom as a daily practice, you unlock the true power within yourself. Change begins when you take responsibility for your thoughts, your choices, and your growth. The journey to freedom is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Because living fully authentically and courageously is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Remember, your mind shapes your reality, and you hold the key to open every door. Choose freedom every day and watch your life transform.